Going on, y'all? We back in a familiar place, and I don't have any shoots or anything to edit today. And it's a little weird at times when I'm used to just being busy back to back. And when I have a day off, it was planned, but I consider today an unplanned day off because it's a Thursday. Technically, I would be working somewhere if I had a job, but there are no jobs today for me to work. And I finished up all my edits. And when you're caught up, like when you're somebody as busy as me and you're caught up on all your work, it's a little strange to have or to think you have nothing to do, right? When you're just kind of being idle. And I wanted to talk about this because this could be like how I relate to somebody who is new in the field where you feel like you have nothing to do. Maybe you're building up your clientele slowly. You're trying to figure it out just like everybody else. And you look at your calendar and you just have nothing. Like, what do you do when you see that you have nothing? I'm gonna share what I do just so that I don't drive myself crazy because I'm not sitting in the house all day twiddling my fingers thinking about, oh man, is this gonna be normal? Am I not gonna be busy anymore? Because that's what will happen. You'll start to allow your mind to attack yourself on the type of business owner that you are, that you'll never get clients, and all this other nonsense that's just not true. So when I have days like this, the first things that I do, obviously, is to go to the gym. Like I like to take care of my body as well as my mind. So I make sure that I wake up early. I don't like sleep in or anything like that. Wake up early and get my butt to the gym. Because the second I get my blood flowing and feel better, get my endorphins going and all that stuff, I feel ready to attack the day. Like I start my day doing the hard things so that I can like set my thermostat in my head. The second I feel lazy or sluggish, I'm like, nope, I got to get up and go. So waking up early to go to the gym of all things, to me are two hard things in the morning. So I'm starting my day off like that. Second is reading. Like I like to make sure that I'm filling my mind with things that I need to know to progress my business, whether that's a psychological aspect on how to talk to people, how to receive feedback, how to stay creative, reading my Bible, of course, making sure that my soul is fed. Like I'm constantly finding books that I can read to make myself better in my intellect and not just working out so that I look good physically. Because both of those things have set me up in a real way. Like being physically fit allow me to just kind of talk to people who want to get fit or they notice me a little bit different than if I was out of shape. And then when they notice me and we start talking, all the stuff that I've been reading starts to come out of my mouth. So, you sound like you know what you're talking about and you tend to get more business when you're able to articulate a little bit better. So reading is definitely something I do, and journaling, like getting my thoughts out of my head onto paper or onto my Remarkable tablet is something that I've been doing for like the last 2 weeks. And I wish I would have picked up on it sooner. I've always heard people say journal, but it just wasn't for me. But allowing it to get out of my head and onto paper or onto this tablet has freed my mind of so much negativity. I wish I would have started a lot sooner. Another thing I allow myself to do, another thing I do when things get slow is the admin work. When I'm busy with my day-to-day activities, running, shooting, editing, running, shooting, editing, I don't have a lot of time for the back-end stuff like polishing up my website, making sure the onboarding process is easy for my clients in case, what if it's somebody I've never met? Would they be able to contact me? Would they be able to book me in an easy fashion? Because nobody wants to be frustrated when they're just trying to work with you. So if you don't have a system or a way for somebody to reach out to you, book you, get your rates and all that stuff, it's time to set that up. It's important for somebody who wants to work with you to just have a simple process through it all. Nobody wants to be waiting for your reply for days at a time, especially if you're slow to respond. This also gives me a chance to reach out to people because there are times where I'm constantly busy and I'll miss phone calls, I'll miss emails, I'll miss text messages. And this is the time for me to respond and get back to them because they may have had a job that I could have worked. I've missed jobs because of that, where I was so busy. Motion detected at the front door. Where I was so busy that I just wasn't able to respond in a decent amount of time and they just ended up going with someone else. So it was definitely my bad on this situation, but it just helps me be better. Like that's how I sharpen myself by going through the pipeline and responding and seeing what's out there for me. I'll say another good thing is I reach out to my fellow creators or people who are part of my team. Like we'll get on phone calls and just talk about the future. We'll talk about how to make our business better, things we want to expand on, things that we want to create or do more of, do less of. And it kind of prepares my mind for the type of jobs that I reach out to during this slow or off day that I have. Like being very clear on who I want to be in my industry, being very clear on the type of clients that I want sets you up to get those type of people. Otherwise, you're just going to take whoever comes knocking at your door. And although it's good and can be good financially and to build your network, it's not always good for you. Like you let in everybody, then you're going to deal with people that you really don't like. And those people are really going to leave an impact on you negatively. And you may just want to leave this entire industry. And that's why I'm very selective with who I let in my space and in my business. I have the right to refuse service to anyone is a very real thing for me. And I just don't work with everyone. Working on my social is also like a big part of what I do on my slow time. I'll start busting out reels. I'll do YouTubes like this because I want people to not forget me. I realize that there are times where I'm posting constantly, and as I'm posting, I'm getting more business. And it's because you're constantly in front of somebody. When you're constantly in front of people, you're constantly on their minds, and it allows them to just be like, oh yeah, I needed to reach out to that guy for this thing. So working on your social medias and your YouTubes and LinkedIn's and all that stuff to make sure that you're up to date on social media is huge for your business. I cannot reinstate that, especially if you don't have a website, if you're very nervous with networking. Like working on your social media should be like the foundation, if anything, because it's a free tool and it's a free way for you to get leads. I mean, obviously you can pay for ads and things like that, but to start out, it's just free and you can network with anybody without the fear of being with somebody face to face. You can just send them a message and wait for them to respond. And people like to hire those that they can see working. So I'm always posting behind the scenes of what I'm doing. Even if you just go to a public place and you're just taking pictures, like you can post that type of stuff as if you're working. Nobody has to really know. And I'm saying this to the people who are starting out. Like you guys may not have a huge portfolio, but your city may have events, your city may have grand openings, your city may have festivals or whatever the case may be. Just take your camera with you and just start practicing. Start getting the behind the scenes of yourself as much as you can so that you can build that up to show that you can work in different settings. I would say another thing that's been very helpful for me during this time is being social on social media. What I mean is like, I'm not worried about the posting part. I'm worried or thinking about the reaching out part. I noticed that when I'm posting on my stories, it may get on my business page, it may get like 30 to 50 views. Because of that, I have 1,700 followers on my business page. So because of that, I'm realizing like my views aren't up. Like people aren't seeing my stuff the way that I'd like them to. And if people aren't seeing me, they're not thinking of me and they can't hire me. So I'll take a good hour and I'll just start reaching out to all of the people that are on my page. Like if they're posting, I'll write comments, I'll put emojis, anything that shows my profile being active on their page so that I can be on their mind. Now, it may seem like it doesn't work, but I actually got 2 jobs like this last week by using this method, just reaching out, not like, hey, I'm here to work, but if they're posting a listing and I didn't shoot it, I'll share it. Or oh my gosh, this is an amazing house. Somebody could be posting about their hobby. Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do that. Like it's just little things that you can write and post that will put you on their page or in their face. If they're not seeing your content, you reaching out to them, being social on social media brings it back to you. And like I said, you would think it doesn't work, but I got 2 jobs just doing that because these agents said, oh my gosh, I meant to hit you up and just forgot. When you think about that, people may want to hire you for stuff and just forget that they needed to hit you up. Especially my clients that run events because their mind is all over the place. They have to hire vendors, get sponsors, get the building, make sure that the sound guy and the DJ is right, and they just got a million things going on. Hiring a videographer or a photographer is important, but it's just another thing on the checklist that they might forget. So making sure that you're constantly in front of people is just a huge aspect to what we do. And you shouldn't take reaching out to people on social media lightly because it can work. And I would say one of the final things I try to do is market research. And what I mean is I try to look for things that maybe somebody else is offering clients like mine that I may not offer them, or I try to polish up a way for my clients to have better service overall. And that's a good primary way to set yourself up for success. If you have competitors in your area and they're offering something that you don't, you just might want to consider it, because you never know what type of service is going to land for somebody. You never know what somebody's no might turn into a yes just because you offer just a little bit more on the services or packages that you have. So doing your market research, making sure that you're doing the best that you can in terms of service, meaning turnaround time, your deliverables, your editing skills, like constantly learning how you can make your business better and not just treating it like a hustle, because a hustle is just, I just want to work with people, get money and be done. But service requires customer service. It requires good turnaround time. It requires good communication. It requires polished profiles. It requires so much. And although it can feel like a lot of weight, do it one thing at a time. Like, trust me, the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So take your time with it. It can feel overwhelming, I'm sure, but if you just attack one thing today, meaning, okay, for sure, I'm gonna post today. I'm gonna post on my Instagram today. It doesn't matter what I talk about, what I do. I'm just gonna make sure I have my camera in my hand, introducing myself or whatever. If you're a type of person who doesn't post, that is gonna be your snowball effect, and just let it work itself out. But don't treat your off days or days where you're doing nothing, but don't treat the days that you have nothing to do nothing. Like, just because you're off doesn't mean you should do nothing. You should always be keeping yourself preoccupied so that you're not vulnerable to negative thoughts. That's it for this one. I wanted to touch base on this subject because it's important. You know, there are people who are losing clients, losing work, and going back to 9 to 5s. So I wanted to make sure that I just voiced this to let people know, like, there are things to do when you're off. And exciting, another pivot, I'm excited to announce that I will be offering memberships through my YouTube. And what this is going to do is allow you guys to get exclusive content. It will allow you guys to have access to me through a chat, almost like a Discord, but just through YouTube. And there's going to be one for group, and there's going to be one for one-on-one. So if you've been thinking about having a mentorship call or mentorship chat with me, this will be the time to do that, so that we can dive into your business, see what works, see what doesn't. I'll personally take a look through all the things that you're doing, what you can do better, and share with you what I've done, so that, you know, if you're trying to make this a career, you can do that. Through this is where I'm going to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have been asking me in just an exclusive setting. So if you've been wondering how I actually do, like, the conversations to how to get clients, it's going to be there. If you want to see the breakdown of how I edit, it's going to be there. There's going to be a lot of exclusive stuff for the people in the membership section of YouTube. And I'm going to start it next month. So I'm excited for that. Be on the lookout for that. But I hope you guys like this one. If you did, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one.